Your background, what was your childhood like?
Well, I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, which was the capital of Nebraska. Our family was of very modest means, and I don't know, it's hard to describe your childhood. It was fine. My parents loved me. Then in college at the University of Nebraska, I really discovered biochemistry because I got a job working in a lab. I liked that a lot. And it decided that I'd make biochemistry my career. Then I decided I wanted to go off and get a PhD in biochemistry. And I decided the University of California at Berkeley was probably well-suited. And so I applied there and I got in. You know, just a few years later, people were doing 3, 4, 5 years of postdoc work. So here I got my PhD in 4 years, postdoc in 2 years, and I landed on the Duke faculty when I was 28 years old. I then got interested in drug discovery in my Duke lab through work on lipids. So I need to tell you this little story. We were studying lipids, diacylglycerol, so the molecule phosphatidylinositol triphosphate was broken down to produce both of those messenger molecules. So I was training to become a professor at university, and then accidentally bumped into how these lipid molecules played roles in disease, and that's how the company was discovered, it was founded. Top administrators at Duke just didn't understand why a Duke professor would be interested in starting a company. The company was all based on chemistry.
Yeah.
And so we had the starting point for our drugs that did go into humans, and they had to be manufactured to a safe standard. And then they had to be tested for their toxicology and bioavailability and all these things to file an IND, that's a new investigative drug, and we had to do all that. So it was all chemically based. We had a whole chemistry division. We must have had 15 or 20 people working on making new molecules. We also screened molecules that we could get from different library collections, solving the problem. If there was any money to be made, it would be because value was added and problems were solved, and then you get a reward for that. And they kind of assumed it was all about the money, and to me it was about solving a problem. And my faculty colleagues, the other professors, thought that it was kind of anti-academic because here you were selling out to industry when your job was to create just new research. And so they didn't understand it either, and they thought it was about the money. In fact, after the company went public, one of the guys at Duke came to a committee that I was chairing, committee meeting. I stayed on the Duke faculty the whole time that Sphinx was around, and he talked about the money after the IPO, and he was really jealous. That was his problem, outright. But he needed to leave the lab.
Yeah.
And then things got much better, and then it was not a problem. But I paid attention to the lab, and I can't tell you how hard I worked because I had to do a stellar job at Duke. And I had to do a stellar job at Sphinx. And you don't know what else I was doing at this time, but I was helping build the Duke Comprehensive Cancer Center, and I had founded a new department of molecular cancer biology, and I was recruiting faculty for that department. And I had to lay out the intellectual arguments for it, take it all the way to the board of trustees. And so I had like 3 jobs. And if that wasn't all I was doing, I was also building our house.
Wow.
Which was a big project. I loved all that stuff, so I'm not complaining at all. And I think I did it pretty well. I look back on it, I don't know how I did all of it. At Duke, I always worked 50 to 55 hours a week. And so during that period, I was probably working 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I was very efficient. That time doesn't matter. It's what you get done. And so I was very organized, and I'd be in the lab early, and I would leave, and I would go home. I had dinner with my family almost all the time. So, and then I could work after dinner. I worked Saturday and Sunday, half days, so I only worked 6 days. And so anyway.
Yeah.
That's my story.
Cool. What are some tips you can give to, I guess, my generation about starting your own company, and what the most important thing you learned from running Sphinx was?
Okay, well, part of my journey was more than you wanted to know, but those are some of my learning. So it's about leadership, it's about communication, and I guess the other big thing is about perseverance.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to go the way you thought it would go. And did. Having to climb the face of a cliff, and you work really hard, and you're way off the ground, and you keep working at this and working at this, and you want to get to the top. The problem is you don't know how far up you have to go.
Yeah.
And the other thing you know is if you fall off, it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
As you start to set yourself up for a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And failures in business are good. People have to develop these skills of perseverance. And always be honest and act in the best interest of people.
Questions?
It's more than you wanted, I'm sure. So sorry you got me wound up.
It was really interesting. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Well, I enjoyed talking with you.
All right, thanks for your time.
Take care now. Bye.
All right, bye.